Okay, so we're going to start with box and whisker plot review so that we can remember how to put data together in a display once we've collected data. So our learning target today is I can remember how to create and interpret box and whisker plots. So the box and whisker plot is a way to display the quantitative data. So the thing to remember here is we have quantitative data. Quantitative means numbers. So I'm going to take a set of numbers and I'm going to use them to turn into a box and whisker plot. So we start with a 5-number summary. The 5-number summary contains these pieces of information. You've got a minimum, a lower quartile, which is basically the lower quarter of your data, the median, which is right in the middle of your data, the upper quartile, which is the upper 25% of your data, and then the maximum. So you need to know each of those 5 things. That is your 5-number summary. And each section is 25% of your data. So you have 25, 25, 25, and 25. So just like 4 quarters make up a dollar, each section of your data is 25% of the whole data. And then the last thing is your interquartile range. That is the middle part of your data. So it's the range from Q3 to Q1. And how much data does that cover? So the range or the spread is the maximum value minus the minimum value, or it tells you how spread out the data is. The interquartile range is Q3 minus Q1. It's the middle 50% of your data. So it's the middle part of your box and whisker plot. So let's look at an example. So we have the resting heart rates of a group of people. We're going to find the 5-number summary and draw a box and whisker plot. So we're going to look at it. The first thing you have to do is put your numbers from smallest to largest. So we're going to look at these numbers. I'm going to start with the 50. So I've got 50, 55, 58, 60, 62, 64, 68, 70, then 72, 76, 84, and 90. Oh, sorry, 92. And then I'm going to look to see where is the middle. So I'm going to kind of keep track. So I start at the ends and I kind of work my way in. And eventually I will get to the middle. So here's the middle. When you have 2 numbers like this, you have to add them together because you need to find the average. So we're going to do 64 plus 68 divided by 2. And that's going to give us 66. So our median is going to be 66. I'm going to kind of put that over here. All right, so our median is 66. Then we're going to start from the outside again. We're not going to include the numbers that we just had in the middle. So we're going to start here and here, right? And we're going to work our way toward the middle. So on the upper quartile, our answer is 76. And then the lower quartile is 58. And then I just go back and I fill in my minimum and my max. So I had 50 and 92. Then we're going to go through and answer the question. So the range, remember, is the max minus the min. So 92 minus 50, and that's going to give us 42. The other thing that tells us is how many numbers have to fit along that number line. So if I do 42 divided by 13, because I have 13 lines, I'm going to get 3 point something. So I'm going to count by 4s. I always round up. So I'm going to start with my minimum value, and I'm going to say 50, and then 54, 58, 62, 66, 70, 74, 78, 82, 86, 90, 94, 98. I feel like I missed some in there. 50, 54, 58. Maybe that's right. All right, so then I'm going to put dots for all of these numbers. And remember that the minimum is 50. Q1 is the lower quartile. The median is Q2, and the upper quartile is Q3. So I'm going to put a dot at 50, a dot at 58, a dot at 66, a dot at 76. So there's not a 76 labeled, so I'm going to go halfway between 74 and 78. And then 92 is the same thing. It's going to be halfway between 90 and 94. And I put them above the number line so then I can draw my box like this. And then in the middle goes the line where the median is. And then I draw my whiskers. So that's my box and whisker plot. The inner quartile range is Q3 minus Q1, which is 76 minus 58, which I believe is 18. And then I need to look at some percentages. So for percentages, remember, this is 25%, this is 25%, this is 25%, and this is 25%. So what percent have a resting heart rate less than 66? So here's 66. So that takes up this chunk of my graph and this chunk of my graph. So that's 50%. What percentages have, or what percent has a resting heart rate? And this should say above 76. So above 76, because here's 76, and this chunk is just 25%. Oh, no more, sorry, it's less than that. So it's 25, 25, and 25, so 75%. What percent have a resting heart rate between 50, and this should say 58. So 50 starts here, change colors, starts here. 58 is right here, so that's just 25% of my graph. And then what percent have a resting heart rate between 66, so that's here, and 92, which is here. So I have 25 and another 25, so that's 50%. Okay? So that's kind of the general way of that. The next one? Oh, no, sorry, the speed of 9 cars on the highway. Let's do this one first. So we're going to start in order. So the slowest is 54. So we have 54 and 58. Then we have 62, 63, 65, 67, 70, 77, and 80. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and look for the median. So here's on the outside, and then I just kind of work my way in. And this time I only have one number in the middle. So our median is going to be 65. And then remember, we don't use that for the next part. We're going to do the lower quartile. So I start here again. So 1. And this time my middle has 2 numbers again. So I'm going to add them together and divide by 2. And that's going to give me 60. So my lower quartile is 60. I'm going to do the same thing with the upper. So I start here and I move my way in. And I'm going to add them. So 70 plus 77 divided by 2. It's going to actually give me a decimal, 73.5. And then my minimum was 54 and my max is 80. So this time I have a range of 26 because I do 80 minus 54. And I'm going to divide that by 13 again because I have 13 lines on my graph. So I'm going to count by 2s. So I'm going to start here with 54 and I'm going to count by 2s as I go up. 66, 68, 70, 72, 74, 76, 78, and then 80 is going to be hung out here on the end. All right, so my min is 54. My lower quartile is 60. My middle is 65. My upper quartile is 73.5, so that's not quite 74. And then my upper is, or my max is 80. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my box. Put the middle in the median and draw my whiskers. So that's all you're going to do for those. Works. So we're going to try one. The high temperature in the last 11 days. All right, so you're going to try this one. You can hit pause for a second and then go ahead and try it and then come back and see how you did. I'm going to go ahead and do it. So I've got 58 and 59. And then I have 64 and 67 and 69. I have 71, 72, 75, 76, 83, and 84. All right, so I'm going to look for the median. So I'm going to count from the outside. And I'm going to see that when I get to the middle, I only have one number in the middle. So 71 is my median. Don't count that one. Then I'm going to go from here. And now I only have 64 in the lower quartile. And in the upper quartile, I have 76. And then my min was 58. My max is 84. If I subtract those again, I believe I get 26 again. So 84 minus 58 is 26. And I'm going to divide by 13 because I have 13 lines. So I'm going to count by 2 again. So I've got 58, 60, 62, 64, 66, 68, 70, 72, 74, 76, 78, 80, 82, and then 84 will be on the end. So I'm going to put a dot at 58, a dot at 64, a dot at 71, a dot at 76, and a dot at 84. And I'm going to go ahead and draw my box. And then I'm going to draw my whiskers. And there you go. Okay. So a couple quick questions. The box and whisker plot below shows the test scores for a group of 24 students. The median score right here in the middle is an 80. What percent got between 70 and 85? So here's 70. Here's 85 right here. So 25% and 25% is 50%. And how many students scored between 45 and 85? So here's 45, here's 85. So I've got 25, 25, and 25. So 75%, but it's asking how many students that is. So 75% times 24 is going to give me 18. So 18 students is actually my answer. All right, one more. The fuel efficiency in miles per gallon is shown below. What's the interquartile range? So remember that's Q3 minus Q1. So that is 30 minus 20. So 10. What percent of the cars have a fuel efficiency greater than 20? So here's 20. So I've got 25% here, 25%, and 25%. So that's 75%. And what percent of the cars can have a fuel efficiency less than 26? So here's 26. So I have 25% there and 25% here. So 50%. All right, so that's your review. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll do my best to help you out.